What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the GoodeBaker Podcast. I'm Nick Baker. Across from me, Shane Good.
What's Gucci boy?
And we're here to talk to you about some video games. First things first, though, we got some announcements. The GoodeBaker Podcast is now available on Google Play Music app and the Apple Podcast app. Finally, we got that through. Oh, the look on your face. What do you got going on with it?
Oh man, I just looked at our stats on the Google, on our podcast.
Yeah?
And we went up 225%.
Fuck yeah.
We got 19 views, baby!
Hell yeah! 19 views? That's like double the rate we've been getting on YouTube.
Damn.
Anyway,
yeah,
so
back into it.
This combines with our already existing sources, Podbean, of course the YouTube channel.
Yep.
Subscribe there. Really help us out, support us. We're going to have video up on there soon of this podcast and our next podcast and hopefully everything in between. We got a nice new camera. We're waiting to get a tripod and a setup. Might get another mic or so, and then we'll be all set, and you'll get to see the cogs at work, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So, without further ado, man, what have you been playing?
So, you finally kicked my gears. You kicked them in, they're starting to roll. I purchased Final Fantasy 14. It's 14 online.
Yes. Oh, but before you do that, I wanna segue from that into the big topics. So
go
right. For
all right. So I'm playing Teamfight Tactics. Mm-hmm. Scratch the first game.
Exactly.
Playing Teamfight Tactics primarily, which is. We talked about it a couple weeks now. Teamfight Tactics, the big updates, the big things that they've changed are nobles. They're going to debuff nobles a little bit. Nobles are... the game allows you to mix and match kind of characters, kind of like a Magic idea, where if you have 6 warriors on the battlefield, you get a buff. Oh, so nobles it's a buff that you can get, except it's 100 armor and 35 life a second for all of if you have 6 of them on the field, for everything you have on the field.
That's dope.
So it's ridiculously overpowered. If you can actually manage to build it, it's almost unbeatable.
So this game really got some traction. It released a week or so ago, I'd say?
It got so much traction because of Auto Chest, which is Dota's version. Mm-hmm. All of the League of Legends fans were playing that, but primarily we want to play a League of Legends version.
I feel like I've seen a lot of articles, and Auto Chess, that game mode is becoming its own genre of games, and this is obviously one of those.
It's evolving.
It's honestly really cool. I love seeing new game genres.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not so new, but the revolutionization of roguelikes and stuff like that in the last few years has been fucking awesome.
Yeah, they've definitely been games in general have just been coming so far, and genres and ideas and just things that 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, was just that would literally never work. How would anybody like to play this game? And then they come out and they're just fuck, that's actually really fun.
It's so addicting. It's similar to me online trading card games.
Mm-hmm.
The new Gwent game. Those games are just so addicting to me. I get into them and
they're just super fun.
Just bounce in and out of them, but when I'm in there, I'm just in there, and I love that. I'm an old Magic player too, so it's brings me back to those old days.
For sure.
Fond memories.
Before we jump off though, this is the saving grace. This is the thing that everybody's wanted, everybody asked for in the community. Geron got a nerf. Doesn't mean anything to you. It means everything to us.
I'm sorry, audio listeners. Give that one a slow clap.
He's a spin to win character. He takes his sword and he spins in a circle. He can attack anybody that's in that
Yeah.
Right. Anybody that's in that AoE, buddy.
We're coming up with.
Yeah, well, it's an actual it's a League of Legends term. Spin to win is.
I'll take your word for it.
That's the money. But he got nerfed, so everybody's really relieved. All right, now we can stop talking about
so
that.
So now on to probably one of our big topics of the week, but we're going to kind of fuse that into what I've been playing, because I've recently jumped back into Final Fantasy XIV, the Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringer expansion released on Tuesday. the second, and I've been playing a bunch. I just got into the Samurai class, switched from Ninja DPS to Samurai DPS. Samurai seems to hit a hell of a lot harder, and can take a little bit more punishment, whereas the Ninja's a little bit quick and more evade based.
Yeah, Samurai only has 2 stances, if I remember reading correctly, right?
It's an interesting system. So there's these 3 orbs that you can fill up with different combo abilities. So you charge up a combo by finishing a said combo, and then you add 1 bar. So I think it's like Ka Hazeke or something like that, and another one I can't remember off the top of my head, but each one of those has a set stage in which you get a special ability. So when you get one, you can use this ability that you do a 3-fold attack.
Yo.
Pretty sweet. Second one is this cone attack, where you slam the ground with your sword and a cone shape goes out and you deal a lot of damage to a crowd. And then the third is a single target attack, and that's like your whopping cannon, and you can deal your most damage when you get to that point. So it's really fluid in how it works. So you start really, really slow and kind of build your way up until you're just slashing, and it's crazy. It's a lot of fun. I'm finding it more fun than the Ninja initially was.
Yeah.
Because the Ninja kind of grew really slowly, but I guess it makes sense because it's already a level 50 character. I didn't have to work up.
Right.
But what's your experience with playing Final Fantasy XIV for the first time?
So I'm starting as a archer.
Nice.
I figured I'd start as an archer. I kind of just looked up briefly, like, the different classes, what each of the classes do, kind of like what the point of each DPS was, and where we're not really playing with anybody else, and it's just me and you right now. I thought that healer wouldn't make sense because one person doesn't really deal enough damage in a party.
Right.
But where once you hit level 30, the archer becomes a bard as well. So you can switch between being able to do DPS and also being able to heal. So it's kind of like a multi-support character.
Right. They have a few buffing abilities as well.
Yeah, I guess they have like a really
standard
good
bard stuff.
Yeah, like they have a DPS buff that's like supposed to be really, really good.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited to really dig into it when we get on there together.
Hell yeah.
I'm working my way up to the most recently released class. You have to be level 60 in one of the Disciples of War, the Gunbreaker, and that's, I think, going to be my first tank.
Yep.
And I haven't dabbled in any of the tank builds before. I tried Gladiator for a little while with another character, and it really didn't suit me too much. I didn't like the combos at all, and something about I don't know, just the way it looked. It didn't really appeal to me too much. The Samurai really kind of feels like a good in-between between tank and DPS, because it is a little bit slower, but it hits harder. It can take a little bit more damage. But I'm really interested to get into the Gunbreaker, because you get that sweet gunblade, and you have a little bit of range, and you can really take some hits, and I'm excited to see what kind of provocation abilities that you can get, and what those buffs are for your party.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm interested to see, because as a whole, from what I understand, Samurai is a one of the better DPSs, but it's also a very selfish DPS where it doesn't offer too much for your party.
Right. It doesn't really, I don't think at all, buff any kind of party.
Yeah.
You can create some deficiencies in your enemies, so you can.
Yeah, so it buffs your enemies, kind of
debuff.
Yeah. Or sorry, not buffs. Debuffs.
Yeah. 10% less attack, or you deal 10% more damage. I need to dig a little bit more into it. Like I said, I just started up the class. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But so Archer and Bard, were you interested in any Disciples of Magic or anything like that, or?
I think the way I'm leaning is. I'm trying to remember how it was. It was my idea was to go from archery, get 50 or get 30 in archery, get the war balloon so I can travel between all 3 of the cities, and then start just like doing some lower level crafting and just kind of like dabbling in that. I really enjoy like crafting and stuff like that, and I also like the system itself looks really fun to play in.
There's a lot of really cool things that you can do with getting your Disciples of Hand leveled up, so you can as a miner you go out there and you get some ore and you can come back and you build armor or weapons with that, and it just really builds on itself really nicely because you can use different Disciples of Hand to level up other Disciples of Hand, and then you can use those things that you created to arm yourself better than you could possibly imagine. I mean, save from like a few really good drops you can get in dungeons and stuff like that, you can really arm yourself better than anything you could buy in like a shop in the overworld.
Not to mention, like, there's a lot of... I was looking into how the economy itself works, because I love economies. That's kind of, like, I love live economies. That's the way I like about RPGs in most cases. And the way that the economy works, there's actually a series of quests that you can make money off of. I forget what the name of the quest is, but you're allowed to do, like, 40 of them in a week. You turn in like a specific amount of like a specific material that you have to craft, but you can go and buy it from the market.
Right.
So
the quests you're talking about are called levies.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And you can do those as Disciples of War or Hand, and the Hand ones are like you're talking about. You kind of get materials, bring them to one of the people in charge of one of the grand companies, I think. And then the Disciples of War, the levy mates, are kind of scattered throughout the world, and you take on quests in certain regions that can be a certain level, and you can bump those levels up to increase the difficulty, and they're a lot of fun. That's a really good way to level up when you're lower level.
Yeah.
I haven't so much gotten back into them since I've been back. I'm just kind of figuring out the mechanics of combat and stuff like that. I did some dungeons or whatever, but the levy quests are really, really a cool thing that I haven't seen done quite as well in other MMOs as it is in this one. I think that's really one of the shining examples of what makes this MMO really, really great.
Definitely, it's a nice like flavor where they're like it just gives you something to do in between what you're, kind of like when you don't want the like very specific or generic quests. Like you can go out and a lot of those quests are like they're really easy, like super low level ones. And I was looking at some of the higher like level 45 ones, and some of them are actually even easier than the lower level ones. And because they're like, you just need to bring me one item and I will give you 45,000 experience points.
The cool thing about the levy quests is a lot of them are really unique in you activate them in the world. So you collect a bunch of them at the levy mate, and you go out and you have a whole list of quests that you can just activate at different nodes on the map. And once you activate those on the node, it starts, and your entire party can join in, and they can get all the experience that you get as given they're in the same level range. If you're too far ahead, you're just going to get garbage for experience, and if you're too far below, I don't think you get as much, because it's like being carried, obviously, if you're going to be able to finish a level 45 if you're like level 37 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But, anyway, I feel like we should probably move on from Final Fantasy XIV, but I am super excited to get you in there, and
it's gonna be good, man.
So it is pretty much downhill from here. Big topics of the week. It is pretty dry out there, but this one I am actually really excited for. The Netflix series The Witcher. Henry Cavill revealed new screenshots from that, and a lot of them look really, really dope.
That's dope. I haven't seen screenshots we're talking about, but I mean, The Witcher, the idea that they're doing this whole Witcher thing actually seems like it's going to be really cool, and it seems like they're putting a lot into it, and it's not just like a Netflix's, what are we going to do next? Witcher, grab The Witcher. You know what I mean?
Cash grab, let's go.
It seems like they're kind of they got the original writers, right? They got the original writers into this, or is that the... No, that's the Final Fantasy one I'm thinking of.
Oh, man, I heard that one of the Netflix series is being helmed by the guys that did Infinity War.
Really?
But I don't think it's this one. I'm not certain on that, but I do know that it's coming out later this year.
Yup. Wow.
I think in like October, November.
That's a little close.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially because a lot of the Netflix series, the seasons are really short. I assume that they're just going to throw out an entire season like they normally do.
Right.
If they've shot an entire season, I'd say it's probably around 6 or 7 episodes, which is perfect for those types of shows.
Yeah.
I know you're not usually into those types of things, but I mean, it's like a really good anime being only like 15 to 20 episodes, and you're like,
yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
Sometimes, like, 12 to 24 episodes is like the golden ratio, because you're like, this is really good, but I'm not like getting just overtired of it. Like when I watch One Piece and have to watch 100 episodes to catch up.
I hate myself.
Literally.
Oh man, yeah. So it's really shaping up to be good. The aesthetic of it is really cool. I'm not 100% crazy about the person that they got to play Siri. I don't think it really portrays. I mean, they're going off the novels and not the games. That's another thing that's interesting.
Oh, okay. That is interesting, especially where the game seems to have more popularity almost.
Right. I think that they're kind of feeding off the popularity of the game, because the novels obviously aren't as widespread. But yeah, I think it's going to be just as cool. The novels obviously gave a lot to the games, and the games came out great. And
that's true.
I mean, there are certain things in the games that are exaggerated and changed, but I believe it's actually a completely original story, apart from like actual characters being pulled in and whatnot. But yeah, I think it'll be fun to see what actually comes of that. The pictures look cool. I'll show them to you after the show.
Yeah, for sure.
And so anyway. So the next one on our list, the third episode of DLC from Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Judgment of Atlantis, releases on July 16th. I haven't played Assassin's Creed Odyssey in a few months, but I am looking to get back into it, maybe as like a secondary thing on Final Fantasy. Just break it up every now and again. I'm kind of getting tired of NBA. They keep robbing me. I hate it.
Yeah, that reminds me of that clip that I showed you earlier.
Oh my god.
That was so funny, dude.
So he showed me this clip of this sweet last second, I think it was like a 3. He steps back, nice, boom, bing bang boom, 3, and the other team gets possession, and I think it's like maybe under a second left.
Yeah.
The guy inbounds it, grabs it, hauls it all the way from the other side of the court, buzzer, and it goes in. And the top thing said, "This will ruin friendships" or something.
Yeah, it was like something like that. It was so good.
Choice. But yeah, so Assassin's Creed Odyssey getting some new DLC, really exciting stuff there, because this DLC that they put out before the last 2 episodes have gotten great critical reviews, and people have loved it, and the aesthetic is completely different from the main game. You go into these like fantastical worlds, and really has me intrigued to like dig a little bit deeper in there.
It's always really cool when games take an art style that they had to start the game with, and then like as like the world of graphics evolve and they release DLC for it, they're not just like lazily throwing the same like styles at the game. They're they're kind of like working up the progression of like different styles and different art and stuff like that. It's really cool to see.
Yeah.
I really hope that games like Borderlands with their DLC does something like that as well. Especially, I mean, like Assassin's Creed is like a really, it's one of my favorite like fluidity art styles for like just how quick the movements are, and like there's no blur in the games. There's no like it's just quick. The
fidelity is really top notch for these newer Assassin's Creeds, where kind of old Assassin's Creed like Unity and stuff like that. They got knocked for those graphical imperfections, what have you. But I mean, they've come such a long way with the changes they made. They kind of went in that action RPG direction. Really haven't strayed from that course, but man,
they've just gone deeper.
Yeah, just keep going, because more like The Witcher.
Well, I mean,
keep going.
What more can we ask from a small indie company, right?
Oh yeah,
Small indie.
It's just starting up.
Yeah, for sure.
What Watch Dogs Legion coming out soon?
Yeah.
That's gonna be tiny game.
Tiny game. Probably like a little bigger than GTA. Tiny game, dude.
Yeah. No,
tiny.
Yeah, just you can control every NPC, but it's just tiny game.
Yeah.
Anyway, so moving on from that, why don't you announce this one?
So, I feel like Paul is just gonna like Kool-Aid Man burst through this door.
Literally, he's about to come through that door like his asshole is on fire.
Legit. Armored Red Mewtwo is coming to Pokemon Go July 10th. So, I haven't played Pokemon Go since, I don't know, like, probably a year and a half ago. Second gen had just released. And I feel like at this point in the game, like, Pokemon Go itself, you either played the first piece and just waited patiently for second gen to come out and then just fell off, or you've played this entire 2 in like 3 months or 2 in 9 months, whatever it is right now, like course, and you see news like this and you're like, I must have this, like instantaneously. Like
I said before in previous episodes, I've kind of dabbled back into this, but we were saying our friend Paul, man, he is deep.
Yeah, he's like the Pokemon fiend.
Yeah, he loves this stuff, and Armored Mewtwo being from the original movie.
Yeah.
This is like right up his alley, man. It's hitting every base.
I'm kind of... Them putting this in there, I wonder if it's going to be like... I don't know, I haven't played the game in a long time. I wonder if it's going to be like ridiculously overpowered. Will it have Mewtwo's same abilities? Like, I wonder what it will mean for like the PvP community of it.
Yeah, I don't know how much the PvP's actually taken over that game. I guess I really haven't played too much, and I'm not too high level, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's probably a really high level of player, and obviously somebody that plays a ton. That's into that PvP stuff and really gets into that stuff. But, yeah, you Pokemon Go maniacs, Armored Mewtwo's there for you, July 10th.
Yo, let us know how it makes things feel in PvP.
It's gonna be real cool. Anyway, so final piece of news this week. I thought this was actually a little bit more interesting than a few of our past things, so I put it at the end. Sony at the very last second changed their Game of the Month, their PS Plus Game of the Month, from PES Soccer to Detroit Become Human. Nice. Detroit Become Human. Sick game. Check it out. It's free. But it's really strange. I don't think they've done this before. I wonder why.
So, in my professional opinion, which is below this carpet, why the hell would they change the game? Like, I know PES Soccer probably... Not the boomer they were going for, but at the same time, I feel like you have contracts for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know how any of that really works, because it seems strange to just give your game away for free for a month, and then...
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually, if you just add it to your library, it's good as long as you have a subscription. So, I mean, you're not getting more money unless you have microtransactions that you're feeding off of, which I think maybe PES Soccer might have some, like...
Maybe. If it's like FIFA is like the grubbers of micro.
Detroit being a Sony first party, it makes more sense that they would have that, because they might have like an interior deal that allows them to just put that right on there. Maybe they were slated for later in the year, and they had to move them up, and PES was like, yeah, no, never mind, I think we're gonna take our game back.
I don't know who does PES Soccer, but I do wonder if the communities like the developers, my guess would be that Sony pays the developers a flat rate of like, we'll give you this flat rate, you will give us this many copies of the game, and whatever doesn't sell, will settle in the center. That would, like, I could see something like that happening, but something like this, I wonder if they just were
where is it? It's not exactly so much as sold. Like, I get, like, kind of getting, like, a big lump sum for putting the game on there. Like, just, here's this, we'll put this on our service, you'll get more exposure, more people will be playing your game, but at the same time, they're not going to be buying it, so... player base increase, no, like, income increase, but maybe that player base forks over some money for microtransactions and that recoups the cost. But with the Sony first party, maybe they pay them a little bit more. They get more of a cut because Detroit doesn't actually have any microtransactions.
I guess that would make sense. I mean, yeah, there's no like explanation unless they have like some sort of just contract like that, or I don't know.
I just thought it was really interesting. Apparently, everybody on the web does too. They have it on all the sites. They're like, oh wow, that's really weird.
Wow.
That they're shifting right at the end.
Do you know who makes this?
No, I don't know who makes PES.
Konami.
Konami makes PES?
Yeah, man. They're the developers of this.
Now that I see the logo, it makes sense.
Yeah, I've never, like, I'm not a soccer fan, player, FIFA,
I love the games. I played when I was a kid, but definitely not into it too much.
So that's really interesting to see a big developer like Konami just kind of, I mean, I don't know what to say about this.
And
it's a little weird.
Maybe Konami is a little upset that Sony's playing so nice with Hideo Kojima on Death Stranding.
Ooh.
Anyway, that's gonna wrap things up for this week.
Yo,
make sure you check everything out. We have on offer in the coming weeks. The D&D podcast is coming together nicely and should be up and running before the end of July.
Hell yeah.
For more of us, take a look at our Facebook page and Instagram for updates on our progress towards the promised land of internet fame. Keep checking back on our YouTube channel for content. Help us out by subscribing. Tell your friends. In addition, you can now find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, and Podbean. Check all those links in the description below. Until next time, peace.
Peace.